So in the last video, we were talking about how do we deploy a contract, and I showed you how to deploy a contract on the Matic network. In this video, we'll see how do we interact with a deployed contract and how do we make changes to the state of the contract or just read the values present in that state. The contract that we will be working with is the one that I had deployed in my previous video, but you can basically use any contract that has been deployed if you know the address and the ABI of that contract, and I'll show you how do we move forward with that. On that note, please make sure that you hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot and keeps me motivated to make more videos like these. Let's get started. All right, so I've opened the contract, the Polygon scan page of the contract over here in my Firefox, as you can see, and you can see that there have been only two transactions. The one that I've done, which one was contract creation, the other was increasing the counter. So no one who was viewing the video basically went and interacted with it, which is disheartening, but fine. So I go to contract and I can see that there is this ABI that is present, the contract source code that is there, and yeah, basically that's pretty much it. If I have to walk you through the code that we had written earlier, basically the biggest thing that you need to remember is that we had to import web3.js, and web3.js is like just one search away, so it should not be something that is difficult to find, and yeah, this is basically web3.js. So this was the code that I had written during the last video. So I will still need to connect to MetaMask, so I will leave this code behind over here, but I'm going to comment out the deploying part. Actually, I don't even need to comment out because it's just the deploy method is over there, so if I don't call it, that's fine. So to interact with a contract, you will need couple of things. One is the address of the contract, which I have over here, and I'll be like address of the deployed contract will be this, and I will need the ABI. The full form of ABI is application binary interface. So what it does is it gives us a readable JSON file, JSON data, basically JSON object, not even file. So it gives us a data readable JSON object, which tells us what are the names of different methods present in the bytecode that we have deployed on the blockchain, or actually anywhere, but this is specifically in the case of blockchain. So I'll copy the ABI from here. Thank you, I know I copied it, and the ABI I'll just write like this, right? So I have the two things that I need to interact with the contract. Before we move forward, I would create a few UI elements just so that we can get a visual reference of what's going on. Creating a paragraph with current count, and I'll need a button basically which says increase count. I'll give ID as well, current count, and I'll give an ID over here as well, ID dude, increase count. Okay, so now I've opened the web page. You can see current count 0, and there's a button to increase count which does nothing, and the current count 0 also does nothing. One thing that I want to show here is what is my wallet address, and it will again be a span with nothing present inside, and ID will be wallet address. Alright, so if I go and refresh again, yeah, wallet address is empty. Now let's just go and first fill the wallet address, and the value will be basically whatever is in this account. Now how did we end up with this code? This code is something that you can just copy directly. What it does is it sees whether the MetaMask or any Ethereum wallet is present, and if it is, it requests for the account. Alright, and once the request passes, it sort of gives us an object back which we save in Web3, and then we retrieve the accounts and we take the first account. So this first account will be our wallet address, and now what I'm going to do is put this value directly here in the wallet address. So what I will do is basically get the element by ID, like this document.get element by ID, and then I'll be like text content, if I'm not wrong, will be the account. Okay, I also forgot to do one thing. I need to start a simple HTTP server. Okay, only then I will be basically able to connect with the MetaMask, because otherwise the file protocol basically doesn't work with it. It needs to be HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so it's on port 8000. It should work now. Localhost port 8000. Great, so it's working now. It's already showing me my address, my wallet address. And another thing that I can do is basically go there. I can just disconnect this account. I haven't written callback, so it's not taking it away directly, but if I refresh, it says the wallet address is not present anymore, and it is asking me to sort of authenticate again. So I go next, I connect, and it's connected, it's authenticated, and the wallet address is now showing. Great. So now we have all the tools that we need on the UI front. So let's go ahead and interact with the contract now. So just for my sanity, I'll be like interact with the contract. So I've gone ahead and created a couple of functions which will be which are update current count and increase current count. So update current count will basically update the value of current count over here. So ideally, after getting the connection made with the MetaMask, we should update the current count over here. So I should call this update current count over here. I can also await this because it will be an async function, but it's not necessary, we are not dependent on it. So I've added the update current count over here, and this increase current count will be called whenever we click this button. So to do that, let me just copy this over here and change the ID to increase count dot on click, and the function will basically be calling increase current count. Okay, great. So we have sort of added the flow, I would say, but we haven't written the code yet. So first thing that we need to do is basically connect our application, our web page, to the contract. All right, so to do that, I'll just do var contract. I'll create a global contract over here, and make sure that the value is over there, some value is present. And after that, what I need to do is similar to how we had created the contract over here, we need to copy it from this place and paste it here, and we can just be like contract is equal to new contract with the ABI that we are yet to give, and the address that I will also have to add over here. Just to double check, I need to make sure that the contract the syntax is correct. So what I'll do is I'll go to web3 and I'll check the contract code over here, and somewhere here, yeah, it says JSON interface and then address. So the JSON interface will be the ABI and the address will be the address of the contract that we have to call. And yeah, that's it. So this is how you generate connection to the contract. There's nothing much more to it. Now basically we have got a connection object, not even connection, but an object that can help us connect to the smart contract. Let's just use the ABI over here, and I'll make it constant address of the contract will be this string format. Great. So now we have the ABI that I'll have to add over here and the address that I'll add over here, and I think we have everything for the connection. I'll just go, I'll open the console, make sure that there is no error present. Now I refresh. Now there were no errors. I'll refresh again just to make sure, and there are still no errors. Great, things are moving forward now. So we have got the connection made, and calling the update comments Update current counter is what I'm looking for. Yep, sorry. Calling the update current counter does nothing. Okay, even if I do an await over here, it still does nothing because there's nothing that I've written over there. So before working on anything, I like to make sure that the things are working in console itself. So what I'll do is I'll have the contract over here. Now to call a method from a contract, what we basically have to do is go to this methods call. Okay, and here this is how we basically call a contract. The contract object dot methods dot name of the method in the contract, and then it sort of takes parameters as well. So you can give a parameter like that, or if you don't want to give, that's also fine. We can also call it with signature, which is a little difficult to explain. Let's not go there. So what I'll do is I'll go to contract and see what methods are available to us. Okay, so we have a couple of methods available: count, and then I suppose this is the hex version of count, and then the string version of count for some reason. Then we have increment, hex version of increment, I suppose it could be counts as well, and the increment in string. Okay, so we can technically go ahead and call count, and this is the function that we need to call. Let me just call this, and it does something. Okay, it works. Okay, so let me just save this value in a variable called count return. Okay, and I'll await this. Okay, so the count return, I have something that has to be called now. This is just the methods object, I suppose, but this is not calling it yet. So we have two options over here. There are call, send, and there are like multiple other things. We can estimate guess, we can encode ABI, bunch of other things. So estimate guess actually returns the amount of gas that is needed to call this function. So if I await this, it says 23471 gas will be required if I call this function, but we are just reading the state, so I don't think gas will be required over there. Something wrong over there, but anyway, so I can just go and call this now and see what happens. It waits for a while, and then the value 1 comes. All right, so what do we do here? Let's just first make sure that the contract object is present, it's not null, and then what we'll do is we'll go var count is equal to contract dot methods dot I think it was count, and then we'll call this method. Okay, so this should return the value 1. We can even console.log the value. Value of count is plus count. Now we go back and we refresh, and we see the value of count is promise, of course, because we haven't done the await over here. And I save it again and go refresh, and now it says value of count is 1. Great. So we just need to update the text over there. What is the ID? Current count. Text content is equal to count. So now you can see I am getting the element by ID, current count, and then updating the text content of that to the count. All right, I can just remove the console.log for now and refresh, and it says current count just changed from 0 to 1. I can refresh again and see it. I don't know if you saw this, but it takes just like a minuscule second to go from 0 to 1 because it's connecting to the network and then getting the value from there. Now how do we know it's getting the correct value? Like, it can be 1, it's showing 1, so how do we make sure? So we can go to read contract on Polygon scan as well and see that the value is 1 over there. I'll go to write contract over there and increase the value by 1. Let me connect to MetaMask over here. Once connected, I click on write. It's given me some gas that I have to pay, and I've paid that. It wasn't fun paying gas, but that's fine. I mean, that's fine. All right, so it says view your transaction. It probably hasn't gone through because I haven't received any notification yet. but this says it's gone through and I've received a notification as well now. So I can go and click on read contract now. The value that it shows now is 2. So if I go here, I haven't done anything else. Okay, if I go here and I refresh, the value should change from 1 to 2. It actually went from 0 to 2, but yes, this thing works. Great. So we have figured out how do we connect and read the value from our smart contract. All right, now the next thing that we need to do is get a click on this button so that it sends a transaction that increases that current count value. All right, so we go back to the code again and make sure that the contract is present over there. Now this time we're increasing the contract, so we have to pay gas. So it's not going to be as simple as calling the call function. What we actually need to do is go to contract dot methods dot increment. I don't know if you remember, but this was the name of the method, and instead of calling call, we now have to do a send over there with another object that we have to pass in. The object has the value from and the account that from which we basically pay the gas. Okay, we can add a bunch of other things in this object, which will be like estimated gas that we have to put in and things like that, but let's not complicate things right now. Let's just do this, and then we do await over here, and we will get like a transaction that will be the response from this. Okay, so once we get the transaction, once we get basically the transaction, the return from this, which means that the send has succeeded, what we'll do is we'll just reload the page, window.reload the page, so that once we reload, the count gets updated. It's a hacky way to do it, but I'm fine with it. Oh my bad. The code to actually reload the window is window.location.reload. Let's just confirm this. Okay, it does. Okay, great. So if I click on this, I've already written the code so that it calls increase current count. So if I click on this, great, it's opening up the pop-up from MetaMask, which basically tells me to confirm that I'm ready to pay this gas fees, which I am, and I'll click on confirm. And now I'm waiting for the transaction to pass through. Great, let's just wait till then. And it has passed through, and it says window.reload is not a function because I did not reload, but because it did not save and refresh the page. But anyway, I can still go and refresh this, and now it says current count 3. Great, so I believe it has worked, and I can go and check over there as well. If I go to Polygon Scan and refresh, go to contract, read contract, the value that comes out is 3. Whoa, boom. And that's how you interact with a smart contract. To actually understand what other things that you could have done, you can see that the method has a dot send over here, and it says will send a transaction to the smart contract and execute its method. This can alter the smart contract state, right? So this is for the send. It has parameters which is options, and the options that can be added is from, that we have basically done once. Gas price, which is optional, we can just say how much gas price should it be, and the amount of gas that is needed. So gas into gas price will be the amount of Matic or Ethereum that you will end up paying to execute the smart contract, and then a value which you can add basically. So I encourage you to now go ahead and read through these couple of documentation and try out experimenting with any of the smart contracts that are present already and sending some sort of transactions to that, or reading the state of that transaction, state of that contract. Again, I'll just leave the Polygon Scan address link down in the description, and you can go and check it out by yourself, that it shows 3 over here. Alright, so that's it for today's video. We've seen how do we interact with the smart contract using JavaScript and creating a UI based on that. So of course if you move ahead and make this beautiful and everything, like this becomes like a web3 app. And that's how basically most of the apps are working out there. The cool part about this is that you are also free to go ahead and access this smart contract and create an app around that without asking for any permission from me, or giving me anything in return. This is somewhere similar to like an API that is available for everyone in a permissionless way, right? So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. If you've made it this far, please make sure you send a like. Please, 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 please. And please let me know in the comments, what do you want to see, like what else should I cover. These are like very basic things. In the next video we can discuss how do we code up other things. This was just like a very simple basic counter, right? How can we code up, let's say, an NFT or a token? How can you go out and create your own token? I think that's something that we can discuss in the next video. And then we will also, let's say, use that token and make sure that, let's say, content of a website is only available to somebody who owns that token, or somebody who pays for that using that token. uh, like, let me know whatever you want, whatever direction you want me to take in that. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye bye.